Imagine you are in a field lit ablaze. The only thing you have to protect yourself is a sword. What do? This is exactly what Prince Yamada went through during his time in exile, and the sword he had later became a part of the royal regalia of Japan. I have been researching art history for years, and the history behind these three objects is by far the most interesting. Allow me to take you down the mythological history behind these three objects to show you just how interesting they are. Now, the mirror and the jewel were created to end a sibling rivalry between two gods. This originally started out as a sibling competition of god-making between Susanoo, the storm god, and Amaterasu, the sun goddess. As Linfamy states in his video, Amaterasu versus Susanoo, when the sun disappeared, the earliest known texts of this story vary on why Susanoo won, but they both ended the same way. With his victories, Susanoo started to cause chaos in heaven, with his final act of throwing a flayed pony into Amaterasu's weaving hall, killing one of her attendants on the spot. Seeing this violation of hospitality, Amaterasu decided to go sulk in a cave. Now, the issue with that is that since Amaterasu is the sun goddess, when she disappeared, the sun disappeared. And as some sources say, including a video from Red entitled Amaterasu in the Cave, demons started to come out from the underworld and bring chaos to humanity. Seeing this, the gods decided to change that and bring Amaterasu back. Now, as the South China Morning Post discusses, another god known as Ame no Uzume was the one who crafted the mirror and the gem to lure her out. Once they were all set in place in front of the cave, all the gods decided to party in front of the cave. And once Amaterasu heard the commotion, she peeked her head out to see what was going on, and she was met with her reflection. She was so distracted by it that the gods were able to pull her out and seal the cave for good. Now, seeing that this was all Susanoo's fault, he was then banished from heaven. He was able to get back in her good graces, though, when he found a sword, the same sword that saved Prince Yamada from an assassination. How did Susanoo find this sword? Well, he slayed a serpent. As Linfamy explains in his video, Kusanagi the Grass-Cutting Sword, Susanoo lured a serpent out using barrels of sake. Once the serpent was good and asleep, he cut all 8 of its heads and began chopping up the serpent. Once he began chopping up the tails, he found a sword in the 8th tail. As Red states in her video, Kusanagi no Tsurugi, this sword was named Ame no Muroko Tsurugi, or the Sword of the Gathering Clouds of Heaven. This was given to Amaterasu as an apology gift to get back into her good graces. Now, this name was changed once Prince Yamada got the sword. As CNN News states in an article entitled Japan's Ancient Mysterious Royal Regalia, the Shinto sun goddess Amaterasu bequeathed the regalia of these objects to her grandson Ninigi, as he descended from heaven to bring peace to Japan. These objects were the mirror, Yake no Kagame, which represented virtue, the jewel, Yasakani no Marakama, meaning benevolence, and the sword representing valor. Now, these relics were then passed down in imperial succession, where Prince Yamada was then gifted the sword from his aunt for protection when he was exiled. This came in handy when a hunting expedition happened with a neighboring warlord. But during this expedition, the warlord burned the field that Yamada was in attempts to kill him and make it look like an accident. As Red states in her video, Yamada starts removing the fuel with the sword, and that's when she realized that the sword could control the wind. Using this power, he uses the sword to swing the fire back at his wimpy murderers, killing them. This relic was then renamed Kusanagi, or Grass Cutter. After that, all the relics ended their expeditions and then were just passed down the royal succession. In conclusion, all of these objects might seem mundane, but they actually hold a lot of meaning to the people of Japan.